Welcome to the semifinals here from SCG Atlanta. I am Cedric Phillips, joined by Patrick Sullivan, and we are about to watch Gerry Thompson with Jeskai Black do battle against Korey McDuffie, playing a Tarka Red in the semifinals of our Standard Open. Again, these two players have played once already this weekend. Gerry Thompson was victorious over Korey McDuffie, and that helped him work his way to the #1 overall seed, which means he gets to play as much as he would like to in the elimination rounds, as he'll always get the option between play and draw. Looks like he is taking a mulligan right now, however. McDuffie will take a look at his opening hand. Looks like he's going to keep it.
This is a matchup where Jeskai Black has to mulligan very aggressively. Their best cards are spectacular, and their bad cards are almost uncastable. And in the case of Painful Truths, literally uncastable. So Thompson's got to be on the hunt for a hand that can interact early. Soulfire Grandmaster, probably the best card in the matchup, game one, with the various shock effects in a close second.
As far as the accomplishments for these two players, for Gerry Thompson, this is his 9th Open, top 8 on the SCG Tour, 5 wins, 2 invitational wins on his resume. That has been chronicled very well. For Korey McDuffie, the unknown here, but he's got some skills as well with 6 SCG Tour Open top 8s and 1 win in Atlanta of 2013. So these two good friends doing battle against each other. Korey McDuffie, an Atlanta native, so no surprise to see him here. And, of course, making a deep run as he is oftentimes doing when we do see him on the SCG Tour.
Another nice thing about McDuffie's build for this matchup is that he, with cutting Teamer Battle Rage out of the deck and with only 2 copies of Become Immense, he has room for other stuff. He has added a 7th shock to the deck. He's got 3 Fiery Impulses and 4 Wild Slashes. The shocks are at a premium in this matchup because all those creatures have to die the moment they show up to the battlefield. But if you shock them and then they're left over with spot removal or card drawing spells that are clunky, you can overpower them pretty easily.
Looks like Thompson will keep his 6. McDuffie has kept his 7, and we are underway here in game number 1 of our semifinals. McDuffie will sacrifice a Bloodstained Mire, fall down to 19 to get a basic Mountain, and we'll see if it'll be Monastery Swift Spear or Zurgo Bellstriker.
Or Wild Slash you. I don't know.
Well,
you just can't. Not gonna call out the man's plays for him. He can do whatever he wants.
There's a Zurgo. Thompson will sacrifice his Flooded Strand. He's going to fall down to 19. We'll see what land Gerry wants to go grab. Do not want to call out his plays for him.
No.
That's just rude.
Yeah.
You can't assume. There's a Prairie Stream. So Thompson will untap. He'll take his 2nd turn here in just a moment, and we'll see what he's up to. You see at least a Wooded Foothills there, so he does have a 2nd land. And a Polluted Delta proves that he has a 3rd one. As you said, however, he does have some very good cards in this matchup and some really bad ones.
Yeah, and that's what's so powerful about this deck post-port in the matchup is the bad cards are gone, and you have more removal spells, so it gets tougher. I have liked this matchup from the Tarka Red side of the table, game 1. And McDuffie's build is even better for this matchup. Post-board's still going to be a slog.
A Wooded Foothills there from Thompson, just a passing of the turn. To Korey McDuffie we go. A Mountain and a Monastery Swift Spear. You saw Wooded Foothills as the land for Korey, and now he'll serve in for 3. Thompson will take that 3, fall down to 16. And now Thompson will sacrifice the fetch land. Let's make it down to 15. And again, figure out what land he does want to get. Now, he does have Kalitas in his hand, and that's double black.
Definitely a powerful card to play towards.
Yeah.
Especially with McDuffie not having the Teamer Battle Rage Become Immense combo in hand, Thompson can tap out more frequently for mid-range plays without the threat of dying on the spot, assuming McDuffie doesn't have a board that can kill him with a Tarka's command.
Soulfire Grandmaster the draw. You know, it is nice that you don't have to worry about that aspect of things anymore if you're Gerry. Just kind of getting combo killed out of nowhere because McDuffie's not playing Teamer Battle Rage this weekend. He does have the 2 copies of Become Immense, but no hyper combo finish to be concerned about.
And keep in mind, deck lists become public when we hit the elimination round. So Thompson knows no copies of Teamer Battle Rage, doesn't have to play around it. And this is where some of the variance in the matchup comes in. Monastery Mentor can be anywhere from Gray Ogre to game over, depending on what McDuffie's hand looks like right now.
Well, the Mentor is here. And I actually think, truthfully, if Gerry got the opportunity to block with it, he would. I'm not sure he would let it just try to stick around, but, tough to say.
Depends what his hand looks like exactly. It's not out of the question, though.
McDuffie does have a Wild Slash at the ready, and when you take a look at Korey's deck list, he does have so many shock effects. I think those have to have been effective for him this weekend.
Oh, definitely. And this matchup is what I believe Paulo's list from the top 8 of the Pro Tour, which is what I copied, was playing with 5 shocks. I went up to 6 shocks, mostly because of this matchup in the main deck. McDuffie's up to 7, which obviously helps even more.
Yeah, 4 Wild Slashes and 3 copies of Fiery Impulse to kill the early threats like Monastery Mentor, Soulfire Grandmaster, and Jace Vryn's Prodigy. McDuffie going to sacrifice a Wooded Foothills, search up a Cinderglade, make sure that he does have green mana. And now we head back Korey's way for his 3rd turn of the semifinals. Titan Strength to draw. And he does have a copy of a Tarkus Command in hand. And now here's a Titan Strength right now.
If he's Titan Strengthening before blocks, I assume this means he's committed to shocking this Monastery Mentor.
He'll go with Fiery Impulse. Wants to save the Wild Slash to go upstairs. And here's a healthy amount of damage. Going to be 7 total.
I count
Actually, let's make it 8. Yeah, another Prowess Trigger from Fiery Impulse.
Yeah, 3 on the board, 3 from Titan Strength, and 2 Prowess Triggers.
Yep. Thompson down to 6. Thompson will draw. You see the Polluted Delta in hand. There's Smoldering Marsh, and now there is Kalidas. 3/4 Lifelinker. Is it good enough to stave off elimination? McDuffie going to draw a card here.
Some fairly average creatures can stabilize the game against a Tarka Red. I lost to Terran 3 and Offensa plenty of times. Not because the text box mattered.
Just it being big.
4/4 for 3 was, yeah, that's good enough.
The brakes are on. A 3/4 Lifelinker for 4 can put the brakes on as well. And that's what Kalidas is trying to do right now.
And that text box is a big deal potentially if we get to next turn.
Sir McDuffie's going to start because he's clearly going to try to win this turn. I think if he does have Wild Slash plus a Tarkus command, I think he can say Wild Slash you, put you to 4. A Tarkus command, deal you 3, don't let you gain any life.
Deal 3, you can't gain life. Yeah, that's, and then the attack should do it. Yeah, this is, you're at 4, Skull Crack you, 2 creatures to 1.
Yeah. I think he's just double and triple checking himself because at a stage like this, you don't want to make a mistake. And maybe this interaction's never come up before for him either. I can't imagine he's used the Skull Crack mode very much on offense like this.
I suspect.
Wow.
I'm not sure what to make of that. Assuming we have life totals correct.
Yeah.
That just looks like a kill to me. Hey, it is possible, I suppose, that McDuffie does not know that the not gain life mode. In standard, you're almost always just +1/+1 in deal 3. That's just the mode on that card.
Here's an attack. There's a Tarkus command.
And now, except if he's doing this, then I suppose he's skull cracking.
And he may have just never used it offensively before.
Yeah, now Thompson's got to,
Yeah, deal 3 and can't gain life.
Now staring at the Tarkus command that was lethal on the table. Last turn.
Yeah.
And now the potential recovery here would be Soulfire Grandmaster plus Crackling Doom, but that involves Thompson sacrificing the blue delta.
Yeah, which is not an option.
Which so he can't do anymore.
Yep.
So Thompson pausing and taking in the full scope of what has just happened.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way as he's going to go down to 1. Now McDuffie will draw. There's a Bloodstained Mire. Here's an Atarka's Command. And you can't get enough of this, can you? Well, that'll do it for game number 1.
All right. Well, that was a little odd. Not the sequencing I would have selected, but good enough to get the job done nonetheless.
Korey McDuffie will win game number 1 here over Gerry Thompson. Atarka Red up a game over Jeskai Black, as we will now turn our attention to the sideboard here for each player. And for Gerry, another copy of Cletus, Trader Get. 3 Radiant Flames, 2 Roast, 2 Dispel, 3 Negate, and some one-ups here in Utter End, Chandra Flamecaller, Linvala the Preserver, and Infinite Obliteration.
So the obvious ones to me are Cletus and the 3 copies of Radiant Flames. Those are just awesome in this matchup. The 2 copies of Dispel and Negate are good in some mixture. You can have a little bit too much of that stuff, but with McDuffie being so heavy on the token generating stuff, the Negates are very good alongside the Dispels. This is on the surface a matchup where Linvala could be acceptable, but Thompson has said that Linvala's been an underperformer, and at this point Thompson might kind of feel like he's got a 14-card sideboard and not even touch it here.
4 Self-Inflicted Wound, 3 Arc Lightning, 2 Smoldering Marsh, 2 Pia and Kirin Alar, 2 Painful Shrews, and 2 Den Protectors here for Korey McDuffie.
McDuffie has told me over the course of this tournament that he's been siding in the full 15 a good percentage of the time.
Wow.
This is another matchup where that might be happening. I don't know how many copies of Self-Inflicted Wound he wants necessarily, because there aren't a whole lot of targets in Thompson's deck, but I think McDuffie is settling in for a much longer game. Wouldn't surprise me if he got away from a lot of the pump spells. Things like Titan Strength could hit the bench here, and he could just become more of a mid-range beatdown deck.
Well, there you do see the options there for both players. So Gerry Thompson will be on the play. He's got some heavy sideboard new. It looks like Korey McDuffie does as well. So we'll see what they're able to come up with here, as we will discuss regionals, a tournament that is taking place very soon. February 6th. Go.starcitygames.com/regionals for more information about this, where you see the playmat and along with the token. It's free and exclusive to our first 200 players. Now, of course, we do want to talk about the SCG points that are available at this tournament, because this is one of the few where you can get them now.
Exactly. No more IQ points. So if you're trying to get to the Players' Championship, there's a lot of SCG points at stake here. Qualifications for the Invitational, and even if you're not trying to grind our large tournaments, significant cash prizes all the way up to $1,200 for first place.
Locations have been announced, so go.starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. February 6th, plant your flag and become your regional champion. Get some SCG points, some cash, and an invite to our Season 1 Invitational in Columbus, where you will see likely both Gerry Thompson and Korey McDuffie at those tournaments. For Gerry Thompson, down a game right now, sideboarding. It's another top 8 on the resume here for Thompson. Number 19, as Nick Miller does let us know that. 19's a lot.
That's quite a few of them.
He's no Todd Anderson.
No.
With Todd Anderson's 300 top 8s, but 19, I've got 3.
And keep in mind that Thompson was on the shelf there for a couple of years while he was working at Wizards R&D. So if he was here the whole time, I'm sure this resume would look even more impressive than it is already.
He is currently practicing partner acrobatics. At one time, had a healthy amount of money underneath his bed, a shoebox. And Jason Ford, a good friend of his, holds the rights to name his firstborn child. Some of our viewers at home think that this is 2 truths and a lie. Oh, it's 3 truths.
3 truths.
3 truths here on our fact sheets for Gerry Thompson. 31 from Elk River, Minnesota. Korey McDuffie, his opponent here. Younger, very skilled with the Tarkared. Just a weird game there in game number 1. Again, it's weird because I just don't think he's ever had to make that play before. So if you've never had to make it, I guess I would say an aggressive Skullcrack against a lifelink creature, it is a little bit weird.
It's a non-intuitive line of play, though he clearly knew it was happening on the other side because he passed and then Skullcrack Gerry when he attacked. That's one of those odd spots where, McDuffie makes the shock and pass play, which looks really odd on the surface if you're on Thompson's position. You're thinking to yourself, okay, well, he's definitely not got a Tarka's command because he would just kill me with that and it'd be a very natural follow-up to the play he made. And then you untap and get a Tarka's command anyway. And in fact, Thompson had a route to stabilize that game. Assuming McDuffie doesn't have another copy of a Tarka's command, he passes the turn, he gets a Crackling Doom off. That kills one of the creatures. That generates a zombie. Now there's a blocker. Now next turn, Thompson's attacking. If he connects and gains 3 life, that's probably the end of the game there. So Thompson probably thought he was in solid position when McDuffie passed the turn back, but McDuffie had 2 copies of Atarka's Command, and that was too much to beat.
Well, we do have an update for you in our backup match. We'll certainly let you know as Andy Ferguson is doing battle over there with his Abzan Company deck against Christopher Bricky and his Mono Green Eldrazi deck. One of the talks of the tournament is Christopher's deck, so hopefully we'll have some time to jump that way and watch that deck play. Someone's going to figure out Eldrazi in this format, that's for sure. We've seen green-red, we've seen mono-green, we've seen mono-black.
And there's 2 different routes. We've seen 2 distinct routes. Right now, a lot more success on the ramp side of it, of just the accelerate into Ugins and large Eldrazi's. We had a very good performing deck there, the mono-black that was just the curve of beatdown Eldrazi, the quality ones from the previews. And both of those decks very different, and I think it's going to take some time to figure out exactly what those configurations are supposed to look like.
Both players will take a look at their opening hands right now. Gerry Thompson will be on the play here for game number 2. Looks like he'll keep. Green light about to be given. And now there's a Smoldering March to start. We'll head to Korey, who's got a mountain. Looks like he's got a 1-drop, and it'll be a Monastery Swiftspear. Thompson will fall down to 19. Radiant Flames the draw here for Gerry. A Polluted Delta and a Roast will take care of the Swiftspear. And Delta is going to dig out either a swamp or an island. And it'll be an island. A Cinderglade here for McDuffie and just a passing of the turn. As you said, typically he's been sideboarding into a much slower deck after sideboard.
Yes. I don't exactly know how far down that hole you want to go. But I would imagine the Titan Strengths are probably out of the deck at this point. The Become Immenses are probably out of the deck at this point. Maybe some number of Atarka's Commands, maybe some number of Reckless Bushwhackers, and he's just becoming more of a mid-range deck.
Bloodstained Mire, the land here for Thompson. The issue here for Thompson is white mana, as he's not able to cast a Monastery Mentor this turn. Looks like Zergo the draw for McDuffie.
But my philosophy in this matchup is, as long as you don't allow any of their creatures to survive, and as long as you don't get blown out by Radiant Flames, their deck really isn't up to a whole lot. There's some impetus to move fast because of Treasure Cruise. So, you know, they can gas up and beat you on a 1-for-1 basis there.
Here is Zergo.
But there isn't too much to be scared of.
A quick update for you. Christopher Bricky does win game number 1 over Andy Ferguson. Mono Green Eldrazi up again over Abzan Company.
Though that equation is different now if Kladis becomes more popular. Because that's a threat that's hard to kill, 4 toughness, challenging for red decks, it's 2 spells. And if they untap with it, it's going to be very hard to win.
Thompson does miss his land drop there, and you see McDuffie's going to search up a Smoldering Marsh that came in from the sideboard. We'll head back Korey McDuffie's way now. He'll draw a card. Bloodstained Mire is what he's picked up. You see he does have some 2 damage spells in his hand there, and Fiery Impulse and Wild Slash. Looks like an Abbot of Carol Keep over there as well.
And when you cut the pump spells post-board, your Abbots become a lot more effective as well, because most of your bad hits off of Abbot of Carol Keep involve the pump spells.
Yeah.
There is an incentive, though, because you have so many removal spells in your deck post-board, to kind of sit and wait with your Abbots until they put a creature into play. And that becomes even more pronounced post-board because you don't want to play a creature onto an empty board, kind of miss, and then have Radiant Flames blow up everything. So I like McDuffie's patience with the Abbots here.
Jace, the draw there for Thompson. We'll just pass the turn back. Arc Lightning the draw.
And it's not even like arc lightning is all that good against Thompson, but you can see McDuffie's commitment to the role in this matchup.
Here's Abbott if Carroll keep. Wild slash the reveal. Wild slash will be cast. Thompson does have negate in hand. I would be a touch surprised if he didn't negate this, though. Well, I suppose he will. And now here's an attack.
That's got to feel like a win for McDuffie. I mean, I understand Thompson's just got to start casting some spells. He's got to preserve his life total a little bit. But I don't think McDuffie was expecting that, and I'm sure he is thrilled with the outcome.
Prairie Extreme the draw. And now I'm curious to see where we go because Thompson has had a Radiant Flames in his hand for a little while.
Can't feel that confident about Radiant Flames when McDuffie's got 5 or 6 cards in his hand and was willing to Abbott on an empty board. You could go for broke here with Kalidas and just hope it's good. But again, McDuffie's sitting on a lot of cards, so how confident are you that that's going to work?
And down to 13. It feels like a swamp is probably on the way. Yep. So now we'll see what the play's going to be, if it's going to be Radiant Flames or if it's just going to be Kalidas. And I agree with you. I feel like it's unlikely that Kalidas is going to be good here. He also saw the negate there from Thompson because he has another negate in his hand. He's got a roast too, so he's got a pretty good hand. He was just bottlenecked on mana. And there's roast on the Abbott. And now I'll just pass the turn back. Huh.
I mean, if McDuffie is committed to playing this slow game, then Thompson can kind of follow his lead to some extent. He's holding up negate, so there's no risk of something really bad happening. If McDuffie overextends, your Radiant Flames is good. If he tries to measure his threats, then maybe Kalidas becomes good.
Yeah. I feel like Gerry's trying to trap him with Radiant Flames pretty good here.
And also the roast there from Thompson. If you're McDuffie, you got to feel like there's a good chance he would Radiant Flames on this board.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you start saying, all right, well, I'll play my Swift Spear. Maybe I'll play another token generator for combat. I just don't believe that he's got a Radiant Flames if he uses spot removal like this.
Here's an attack for 3. It's a pretty attractive spot to play a card like a Tarkus Command.
Like I said, I suspect a lot of that has been boarded out. He's got I believe he has one in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
I would be shocked if he had the full 4 left in his deck, but especially since he's gone up to the black cards as well.
Well, Thompson is going to fall down to 10. Time to draw. Soulfire Grandmaster.
I really love the way that McDuffie has navigated this game here with Thompson tight on lands.
It's just been such a peculiar game. Because it's clear, if Gerry draws some lands, he can set up some different things here. He's trying to set up a good spot for Radiant Flames, obviously.
That's getting harder and harder to do.
It is, yeah. Because now with the draw Soulfire Grandmaster, you kind of want to set up Soulfire Grandmaster plus Radiant Flames. It's just getting tough. So now here's Radiant Flames.
This seems like a fine spot for a Tarkus Command here.
Yep.
Get to deal 3 damage and keep your Swift Spear.
Yep. So down to 7. You only kill a Zergo. And I think Korey might just have to kill this coming turn.
Well, he's still got to respect Murderous Cut.
Very true.
If he just attacks and dumps a bunch of Wild Slashes on the table and Thompson has a Murderous Cut, he may never be able to come back in.
Mm-hmm. McDuffie will take 1. Fall down to 18. There's a basic mountain. So perhaps we'll see a Wild Slash on the end step. And we know he's got copies of Fiery Impulse in hand.
Well, he's got Wild Slash and Arc Lightning in his hand. That's 5 points plus a couple prowess triggers. And in fact, he can even Wild Slash now and Arc Lightning next turn if he wants to.
Yeah, but it looks like he's going to wait. Den Protector the draw. He'll attack here for 1. Looks like it'll be a Wild Slash inside combat, yeah. That'll give a prowess trigger. So 4 total damage.
If this happens, he goes to 3, and then the Arc Lightning can finish the game off.
And there is Arc Lightning. That's going to do it. Korey McDuffie's going to win this match here over Gerry Thompson. 2-0. Atarka Red will take care of Jeskai Black, and for McDuffie, he moves on to the finals to play the winner of Christopher Bricky and Andy Ferguson, and we got to figure out who that winner is going